So if we think of cell theory, we know that all cells come from pre-existing cells. And so what happens is cells basically divide or replicate. And there's three different types of cell division. The first one is called binary fission, and this happens in prokaryotic cells or single-celled organisms. So you have a cell here which has some DNA in it here. What happens is the DNA replicates, so we have 2 copies of DNA. So we had 1 copy, we then have 2 copies. We then get the DNA moved to either end of the cell. Then the cell splits in 2 down the middle here, and when the cell splits in 2 to make 2 new cells, that's called cytokinesis. So we started off with 1 cell which had some DNA in it, and then we ended up with 2 cells with the exact same DNA. So these, because they have the same DNA, they got the same instructions, and this makes these two cells exact, precise clones of the first cell. And so this is one type of cell division. It's called binary fission. Another type of cell division is called mitosis. And so what happens here is, once again, we have the 1 cell, and then the DNA replicates or makes a copy of itself. But we actually see that the DNA is organized in these kind of very long chromosome things, and then we get these chromosomes where there's kind of 2 copies, 2 copies of the DNA. Then, of course, what happens is the DNA lines up and then splits to either end of the cell. So here we kind of see this split happening here. And this is mitosis, the process where these chromosomes within the cell split, pair up, I suppose, and then join in the middle and then split to either side of the cell. And then cytokinesis happens again, and we end up with 2 cells. And these 2 cells have exactly the same chromosomes or the exact same DNA in them as our parent cell, but now our parent cell has basically replicated itself to make 2 new cells. So that's mitosis, and that's another form of cell division. And mitosis happens in eukaryotic cells, whereas binary fission happens in prokaryotic cells. And the last type of cell division is meiosis. So meiosis is a process basically used to produce sex cells or gametes. So it starts with 1 cell here, which has got, you can see there's 4 chromosomes in it. Those chromosomes, again, it starts by replicating those chromosomes. So you can see they've all doubled here. They still stay double here, and then they line up here, and then they split once. So 1 split happens. So we're back down to kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, like we started with. But then it splits again into 4 daughter cells. So meiosis produces 4 daughter cells, and if you have a look here closely, each daughter cell has got half, not 1, 2, 3, 4, half the number of chromosomes that the parent cell had. So meiosis produces sex cells, and those sex cells have half the number of chromosomes. Because if we think about that, and we think of if all the cells of an organism have 4 chromosomes, and then if we make a sex cell with 2 chromosomes, and it joins with another sex cell, so a sperm and egg join together, then I end up with 1 cell, once those sperm and egg have joined, 1 cell with 4 chromosomes, which is exactly the same number that the organism started with. So sex cells have got half the number of chromosomes, so that when they join together with another sex cell in sexual reproduction, you end up with an organism with just the right number of chromosomes. For example, I'm a human, so all of my cells have 46 chromosomes, except sperm cells and egg cells have 23 chromosomes. 23 and 23 is 46, and if you get sperm and an egg, a human sperm and a human egg, you'll get a new human with 46 chromosomes. So they're the 3 types of cell division. Binary fission in prokaryotes, mitosis in eukaryotes, and that's used for growth of the eukaryotic organism and also to repair damage to the organism. And of course meiosis, which is basically used as a form of cell division to produce sex cells or gametes.